Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Smart Safety Connection Seminar. My name is Junson Hwang, and I am a Safety Training and Transportation Fellow. The Smart Safety Connection Seminar series is sponsored by Safety 21 as an opportunity for faculty and partners to showcase their current transportation projects. It is also an opportunity for students, fellow faculty, deployment partners, and the broader community to engage and network with researchers, highlight opportunities for involvement, and foster future interdisciplinary collaboration. Please note that this session is being recorded and all participants' microphones are muted. If you're joining us online, please send your questions through the chat, or if you're here with us in person, feel free to raise your hand at any time. Now, I'd like to introduce today's speaker. Helen Loeb received her Ph.D. in robotics from the University of Bordeaux, France. After a tenure in driving safety at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, she created her own startup, Jitsik LLC, to develop new tools so that everyone, young and old, can reap the benefit of the latest driving technology for safe and independent mobility. She loves research, but she loves deployment even more. So please start, Helen, please.
Yeah, thank you so much for this kind of introduction. So my name is Helen Loeb, and I'm the CEO of Jitsik, a startup in Philadelphia. We are focused on using virtual reality in the context of automotive technology and automotive safety. And I want to acknowledge here my academic partners, Rahul Mangaram, Eric Guerra, and Summer Dong, who I had the pleasure of working with for the past couple of years. So let's get started. I would like to dedicate this presentation to the memory of my son, Jonathan, who passed 4 years ago. He is the founder of Jitsik. He created the company as a Drexel student, and he loved cars, he loved technology, and he's the one who thought of the idea of using VR in the first place. So let's get started with the presentation. So this is the number that everyone in safety is always looking at, the number of people who die each road on US roads. So it fluctuates from year to year, but it's kind of stuck in the 40,000 range. And we obviously, everybody wants this number to go, to be the lowest possible and hopefully reach the Vision Zero objective. So, and hopefully the autonomous driving might take us there at some point. But till then, there is still quite a bit of work to do. So teen drivers are typically overrepresented in crashes. Like if you look at the insurer numbers, which is like usually they do all the math and they can tell you exactly how much more risky it is to insure a young person. So usually the insurance is about like 3 times the price, which means that it's 3 times the risk when a teen is on the road. And so I got interested in that. Why do teens crash so much more than young people, than older people, more mature drivers? So as a background, I've worked for 10 plus years as a researcher at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Some of you might know the work of Dr. Flora Winston, who created the Center for Injury Research and Prevention. And there is a tremendous group over there who has been working in driving safety. So I was part of this group, and I did a lot of work in teen driving safety, both using like real data, real driving trips. So that's using the SHARP2 naturalistic driving data of 3,000 drivers. I also did a comparative study on the simulator of teens versus adults. And if I was going to summarize things, and I'll give you more details, teens are just not well prepared. This is obviously inexperience. They lack miles. So when they go out on the road with a driving license, they can legally drive, but they are still a danger to themselves and people on the road. And they also lack danger awareness. They are not aware of the danger out there. So for some of them are over anxious, and it's another problem. And I want to illustrate here what I'm talking about with some results from my previous work at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So we use a driving simulator, and we program events. And in some of these events, teens had to brake to avoid a crash. And I'm going to show you what I found is that is summarized in the title of the top of the slide here. Teens just don't know how to brake. It's as simple as that. And I developed something that's called the braking adequacy, meaning how much you brake for a given situation. If it's a big emergency, you should really like slam on the brake. If it's just slowing down, this is something different. So I'm going to illustrate that with the first video here. So let's see if I can get this to run. So in this situation, the teen is following like a truck. So the teen is free to adjust the following distance and everything. And it really feels like driving. It's a very comfortable environment. So you're going to be interested, especially in the lower right quadrant where you see the foot of the participants. And again, this was a comparative study, teen versus adults. And so I derived the result after massaging all the data. So I'm going to show you what's happening. So the teen is following the truck. All right. So what happened here is that the teen like kind of was gently braking and could not avoid. The following distance wasn't so bad, but the teen like gently braked and as a result crashed. And I'm going to continue the video. So the truck is going on, and the teen is going back. And the teen is going to adjust the following distance. All right. And again, in this situation, so this is a double crash. So obviously the teen didn't like learn something from the first time. And the following distance wasn't bad per se, but what was bad is the braking itself. No like awareness of danger of like, I better brake now. So that part was missing. So that's what I call the braking adequacy. And I've done, the math comparing adults and teens, and, this is what we find. So let me now get next slide. All right, next slide. Okay. All right, I have trouble getting to my, here it is. So now I'm going to have a second one here video. This is what I call pedal confusion. So I'm going to start playing here. And again, I'm going to explain what's going on. So in this situation, the teen is going to be faced with like a car that's kind of hidden, that's what we call a sudden event, sudden car. It's going to come out of nowhere, pop up. And again, the teen has to brake to avoid the crash. And what's going to happen here is not so much that the teen does not brake enough. It's more like the teen is going to press the gas pedal instead of the brake at the very beginning. So pay attention to the lower right quadrant. All right, and it goes really quickly, so I'm gonna play it a second time here so you can see. So pay attention to the lower right quadrant, the sneaker over there. So the teen is accelerating, pressing the gas pedal instead of the brake and then the brake. But we had this in the graph. We saw that, and we got a couple. I mean, out of like the 20 teens that we tested, we had a couple who exhibited this behavior, and these were teens with a very all of them had their driving license, but a pretty recent one, less than a year. I'm going to show you, after that, I did some work in naturalistic driving, meaning like we're using real data and real circumstances. So I'm going to show you here what that looks like. Here, this is a teen following a car. And again, there is like a crash. This one is a real crash. This is not like a simulated one. This is a real one. And we had the same thing, like comparing teens and adults and saying, and then when I talk to instructors, they say, oh yeah, we know about that. The teens don't know how to brake. So based on that, I got really interested in driving education. What can we do better? And so looking at the driving education here, if you think about it, I like to graph things from like free to expensive graph, stressful to fun. And so this is what we have. Parents are free if you don't account for their time, obviously. Nothing is really free, but okay, so you could say this is less costly to the family, direct cost, but it is very stressful. And I work a lot with students, and each time I ask somebody, what was your experience learning with your parents, from your parents? And I always go like, oh my God, and my dad was yelling, my mom was panicked, and I hated it. And I also have my own stories about that, teaching my kids. So yeah, this is pretty stressful. Now what you can do is go to a driving school, and a lot of families opt for driving school. The problem is driving school is that it's expensive. It can cost up to like $100 an hour when you factor everything in. And so it is expensive. As a result, driving school tend to get located in wealthy neighborhoods. And as a result, people with low income don't really have access to that education and end up being overrepresented in crashes because they're not prepared. They are not prepared, and they take the car and they crash it. So what we want to develop is like something that can be fun. Our target population is like 16 years old, 15 and a half, 16, and send something that's more reasonable in price because they can practice on their own, which is like really the objective of the simulator. And the one thing, and I'll show you an example of that, of what driving simulators can do, is expose teens to danger virtually. Like the scenarios that I showed you, and I'm going to show you some more. Parents cannot create those scenarios, and instructors cannot create those scenarios. So the only way to make sure your kid is actually prepared, has developed that muscle memory to intervene in an emergency situation, is to actually do it on a simulator. And I'm going to show you more example of that. Before I do that, I just want, for the fun of it, to go back to the history of driving simulation. So we can go back to like a simulator that was developed by Aetna, the insurance company, in 1961. So I'm going to play that. It's a minute long, but I think it's kind of fun to see how every technology innovation brings its own set of ideas and gets leveraged in different ways. So I'm going to play that.
Nottingham, where the driver-trainer simulates all the dangers of the road and teaches the novice how to meet them. This new learn-to-drive system, without moving and in complete safety, was evolved by the pooling of specialist ideas. A class of 25 sit at the wheel, see the road on the screen, and work the simulator controls as if they were actually driving. The learner even hears engine noise. After 7 90-minute lessons, the pupil is 3/4 ready to have a driving test on the road, full of confidence, thoroughly familiar with the controls. Everything the learner does is recorded, a full detail of all the mistakes and hesitations which might have caused accidents on the road. The system may become general, with every novice starting on the simulator and many more passing the driving test first time. And for the outside instructors, life won't be spent on the brink of a nervous breakdown.
All right, so I think this is kind of fun to look at, these old pictures, like the analog world and the paper trail, and it's kind of, and we have gone a long way since then, but I think that's kind of fun. So that's what I call V1 of the driving simulation, and this was like 60-meter projected, pre-recorded film that people are following. So that's kind of fun. So I'm like version 2, I would say, is, then come the computers, and you can have interactive driving. And this simulator is the one that I actually use at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And it's very good for research. And I showed you some of the results we have. The only problem is that it's a little bulky. It takes an entire room. It is also quite expensive. So that's a very useful and valid tool for research, but hard to translate into education. And that's where I started, doing the work with Jitsik, is to see what can we do to make this simulation software available to all young drivers in a portable, immersive, and affordable manner. So our company received a patent, a US patent, for the use of virtual and mixed reality for driving simulation. Obviously, the flight, the training pilot, it has been done for years and years, but it would be interesting to see if there is like a way to leverage the same kind of technology for young people. So this is the simulator. I'm going to play it here that we have developed. I'm going to let it play, I guess. So for the hardware, we're using Fanatec racing steering wheel and pedals.
Yeah, right. Yes. Those are all.
For the hardware, the frame itself, we use Trex, so we mount everything onto a frame, including a real car seat, so it's very comfortable. We even have a seat belt. We have everything. For the headset, we use the Meta Quest 3 headset, which is the very popular VR headset. It's the most affordable, and also it's a very powerful headset. It allows for mixed reality. In terms of software, we have developed everything using Unity 3D game engine, using Visual Studio C# for scripting, and digital twin technology for the development of driving scenarios. So the roads that we drive using the simulator are actual real streets from real cities. So yes, so we reproduce, we do digital twin technology to obtain that. So based on that, using this simulator, we are now ready to expose young people to a scripted scenario. So I'm going to show you a few scenarios that we have developed, and and you'll get an idea about what our software looks like at the same time. So the first scenario is a hidden pedestrian. So I'm going to play it. And again, it goes quickly, so you have to pay attention. So there is an obstructed view on the right, and there is like, if you don't pay attention, you're going to go over I'm going to pause again. And I have to say that we tricked driving instructor with this scenario. So the driving instructor who tried our simulator, so was on the left lane, and there are people stopped on the right lane, and he's going and he's not paying attention to the pedestrian crossing, and then sure enough he goes over the pedestrian. I'll play it again here, and you can see how quickly things happen. You have the pedestrian crossing here with a pedestrian, and that's a near miss. The second scenario is a sneaky car, a little bit like the one I showed you earlier. So same type of thing. You can expose young people here up to like a car that comes out of a driveway. I'll play it again. It's very short. Here, the car is coming out of the driveway, and you need to have good muscle memory to avoid the crash. All right. So I'm going to move to, let's see, to my event number 3 here. Okay. Event number 3, this is a buzzy left turn. So while the student is using our simulator, there is like a voiceover while he drives, telling him, you want to make a left at the intersection, you want to go straight, you want to slow down, you want to make another left. So here, this is a buzzy left turn. And so and it's easy to miss the pedestrian who is crossing, and there is traffic at the same time. So for novice driver, this is a little bit buzzy. We could even have add a traffic in the back if we want to force them to look behind before they brake. I'll play it again. All right, so you see here, that's a buzzy left turn. So we come to our event 4. This one is an icy road. We can simulate ice on the road. So in the simulation, we ask, we tell the driver that there's going to be ice coming, and they need to pay attention. So here there is ice already, and if they don't go too slow, if they go too fast, it becomes slippery. It becomes slippery if they go too fast. I'll play it again. And also I want you to notice that on the bottom of the screen, you can see the hands of the driver while using mixed reality. So the driver, even though he's wearing the headset, he can see his hands, which makes it a more comfortable experience. So here comes the ice, and Okay, this is slippery, so that's what's going on, right? So what we are doing right now is we are deploying our simulator in. So far, we have deployed in 2 driving schools. We have deployed in the community independent solution driving school. Of note, for that simulator that's over there in San Antonio, we have equipped the simulator with hand control for people living with disabilities who will not be able to use their feet on the pedals. So they need hand control to brake and for the gas pedal to activate gas. So having a simulator is really like a tool of a great value to them, because otherwise it's very difficult to learn this type of skill on the road. The other driving school where we are deploying is Driven to Drive. So this is a driving school in Philadelphia, and the simulator is deployed over there. So we are monitoring how the students interact with it, and we want to make it like a fun and especially self-service type of environment. So they know they can practice parallel parking, they know they can practice any situation that they want, and get the virtual miles that I was talking about, that they lack miles. So you get better by doing it, and even if you cannot go on the road by yourself, at least you can get some virtual miles under your belt by using a simulator. So one natural question is going to be, what about self-driving? I mean, are driving license obsolete? Well, not yet. The driving school I work with is actually planning to open 2 new locations. So apparently they think there is a solid future for driving education. So we anticipate that driving simulator can help prepare the next generation of drivers for automation. So even though self-driving is coming, and we certainly hope it's going to help make all our roads safer, we anticipate that the simulator can help teach people how to handle self-driving, how to handle autopilot, how to handle level 2 to level 5 automated features, how to interpret system alerts. If the car is sending you an alert, how do you react? What do you do if suddenly the system say, hey, it's all of a sudden it's foggy, or the sensor has been hidden or something, it's not working anymore. So how do you react to that? And it's important also that to teach people how to confidently use technology without misunderstanding its limits. This is like what we call the operating domain in engineering. Like a system is good up to a certain point, and if you go out of those boundaries, then you might need to have still good driving skill to take over. So I think, so next steps here for us is going to be to deploy in more driving schools, to continue our deployment, to really see how it should work for young people. Hopefully, we would love to see if driving education can return to high schools. It used to be in high schools until it became too expensive. And then it went to private driving schools and just families. But the problem is that it doesn't reach everyone, and some young people are left out. So it would be phenomenal to be able to bring it back to high school if it's affordable enough. We are going to do a distracting driving event in our simulator. We plan to call people on their cell while they are using the simulator as like a way to teach them you can do that and make them aware of like, be aware of like driving is something important. If not, you're going to get into a crash. And so that's, something we're going to do. And on the technology side, we also plan to develop a portable version of the VR driving simulator, like some kind of kit to turn any car into a VR driving simulator so that you can use native steering wheel and native pedals to drive. And this is like the strength of VR, is that it can be deployed very easily in a vehicle. So we did a little proof of concept of that work. And so I'm going to share this video. So in this video, the driver is wearing, the same Meta 3 headset. And we put a sensor like IMU, type of sensor, industrial measurement unit, both on the steering wheel and on each of the pedals. We put the sensor, we just strap it underneath the pedal, and that allows us to close the loop and to be able to send all that information back to the headset. So I'm going to run this for you. So here it is, like using a real vehicle equipped with like all sensors to drive in virtual reality. What you watch here is lag time, and you need to have a small lag for it to be possible, but we see in this video that this is totally doable. Those are, we hope to start in that direction as well, to make, like I said, the simulator more portable, more affordable, and easy to deploy in a bunch of places. So I think this is kind of the end of my formal presentation. So I welcome all your questions here. And I want to acknowledge the Safety 21 partners, Rajkumar, Karen Lightman, Selena Distler, who have been amazing to work with and make all of this possible. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Helen. We will open it up to questions now. So questions from the audience. We have a great group of folks here, Helen, and then there are some folks online. I think you actually just answered this a little bit with your last video that you played, but one question in the chat from somebody online is whether or not someone can install this setup at home, which I think you just sort of showed us a little bit of. And
yes.
The second question is what would be the cost? So
yeah.
I guess you could give us a little bit of an update as to where that technology is right now.
Yes, so I'll go back to my previous, to this slide here. Perfect. So yes, we want this to be hopefully available to everyone. And what we have found is that if you locate things like in a driving school, students still have to get there. And we are in a world where we like to do things from home. and we have this vehicle sitting in the driveway doing nothing. So we are working on developing this kit. So in a perfect world, we would only need the VR headset, which is like, it goes for about $400, the VR headset, which people might have already because it's starting to become like something that young people have. And you need, after that, you need the sensors. So the sensors are not going to be expensive. It's going to be like maybe 100 max or even less than that for the sensors. This is pretty cheap. Sensor technology is very cheap. And so the question is, can we host all the application in the headset, or do we have to have a companion laptop? This is what's going to be changing the price. We need a 2K laptop to run the thing, or can we just run into the headset? And we think we can run it in the headset. So then you have it. You could technically have all of it for less than 1K, for less, essentially the headset plus the sensors, plus potentially like a clip-on steering wheel equipped with a sensor. But that would not be a crazy cost either. Yeah.
That's great, Ellen. Thanks. I'm going to open it up to the room. Yeah, please. And then we have another one in the chat. Please.
Hi, Alex Komnick from Pittsburgh Regional Transit. Do you do anything with commercial driver's license? Commercial?
Yes. We're absolutely. I mean, we want to do it. I'm in the middle of writing a proposal to do that. Several people have asked us to do that because for us, especially with the in-car sensors that I'm talking about, the environment stays the same. The Unity 3D stays the same. The only thing that changes is the Unity 3D model of the vehicle which we are using. So if we want to do like CDL, we are going to just say, hey, it's no longer a car. Now it's a heavy truck, or it has a trailer, or it's a bus. So yes, this is something that we absolutely can do. This is something that we want to do, and I anticipate it's going to be one of the Safety 21 projects that I'm going to submit just early next week. So if you have an interest in that, please contact me because I'd love to work with you.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, I'm glad to connect you afterwards. Another question we have in the chat is whether or not this could be adapted to simulate drowsiness or impairment to help teens learn about those issues.
Yes. So the answer is absolutely, absolutely. There are a number of things that you can do to simulate drowsiness and this kind of stuff. I know that other people have done it with driving simulation. Our take is we use VR, so it's more immersive, so it's even more efficient in the way of the visual. But what you do if you want to simulate drowsiness is first of all, you can blur a little bit the image so that to somebody who is drinking a little bit too much or is tired, so you can blur a little bit the image. You can also create lag in the response time. We know that when somebody has been drinking, their reaction time is not the same. So we could simulate that. We could add that factor in. And that way they are driving, but they are driving with impairment. And they see how much easier it is to get into a crash. So some other people have done it with their research, and we can absolutely do that. Yeah.
Great, thanks. More questions? Go ahead, please.
I was thinking if you have considered like lobbying this to the government, maybe like local or I don't know, it probably is a challenge, but I was thinking if it would be nice having like students or like people with learning permit to have like a certain hour of practice, because I think one of the challenge with teenagers is like this experience you get while driving, right? And then you can go from having your learner's permit to your actual driver license without having enough practice. So it would be nice having like, oh, you have to have like, I don't know, 50 hours or 100 hours in these simulators. Can give them like that experience, and can be a requirement, probably doesn't have a lot of cost, and you can actually make sure all the government can actually make sure that they did this practice.
Yeah, this is music to my ears. I mean, absolutely. Yes, and yes, of course. I mean, this is measurable. And people who learn with their parents, how do we know what they really did? We never know. We don't know that. We don't know that. And it is measurable. You know this, they did that many hours. And I'm going to generalize this to not just young people, but right now the insurance usually gives you a discount if you get like some kind of refresher course, even if you just read online a little bit about the danger of like distracted driving, or like if you prove that you read to them, they'll give you a discount. So all the more so if you actually go on a driving simulator and experience things. So, but for us as a startup, the problem is to demonstrate the validity, and that's where you can talk to insurance. And same with the government. You need to really have numbers to show, to make your case. Yeah, thank you for the comment.
Yeah, on the topic of validity, I thought it was really interesting how you showed the axes from free to expensive and enjoyable. Yep. I'm curious how you think about how effective driving the simulator it is compared to something like a traditional driving school, and then how you think about measuring that, because it seems like something that would be challenging to actually measure in practice.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Effectiveness, right? Effectiveness. So there are, like I said, driving simulators go back to the 60s. I don't know how effective those were in the 60s, because just looking at somebody and from a pre-recorded video, I don't know what you can get from that. So I think we'll have to see how we can measure effectiveness. What we know for sure is that, I don't know if you remember this movie. What was it? Like, that was pretty recent. Like, there is like a Formula One guy who learned from a simulator and was picked up. That was Nissan, maybe. And he did really, really well. And all his practice was simulator. So, that demonstrates, like, simulator, yes, they can actually teach you. So there are a number of things we can do. So, yeah, I mean, that's a great topic. That's a great topic to measure efficiency. But we know for sure that we can, like, measure things that we could not measure otherwise, like the pedal confusion that I showed you, braking efficacy efficiencies that I showed you. These all are measurable, factors that you can get on a simulator that you cannot get otherwise. Even like attention, like where are people looking? When you are using a headset, you are a captive audience. I know exactly whether you saw that pedestrian or not, because I know where you are looking at, while you're in the VR headset. So we can get all that information.
I maybe had like two questions in one. I was kind of curious about like how serious like participants, like, in the sense of like a crash within the VR, like this sort of VR simulator, is probably not a big deal, but then in reality, like, the crash is a pretty severe consequence. So I was wondering if like the model.
Right.
Yeah. And then I had another question, which is like, I'm one of those people that, like, if I stare at a screen too long, I get a headache. So I'm wondering if, like, maybe for participants, if their performance is like impacted at all by like just staring at a screen for long periods of time.
Yeah, the level of comfort with VR. Yeah, so you have two questions: the level of comfort with VR, and then how realistic is it they're driving, right? Yeah. So to the first one, how realistic it is, I think if you have good steering wheel and pedals, like, it has to be a high quality equipment. If it's too cheap, it's just not going to work. I've seen like simulators, I've showed you the history, the span, and some are very, very cheap and they have absolutely no value. But if you have good pedals, good steering wheel, then, for example, with a simulator that I use at shop, people are driving and they do it seriously and they try to avoid the crash, and they are not playing games. They are using their skills, and I would think that this is a high fidelity environment and pretty representative of what what's happening in the real world. The only limitation I would say with a simulator like the one I did at SHOP is like the ability to look left and right, because with 3 screens you can't really turn all the way to the left if it's a tight intersection or something like that. But that's where VR comes in, because with VR you can even practice parallel parking and look behind you. So you are completely immersed while you are in VR. So that's the answer to your first question. About VR, the level of comfort, yes, this is correct, absolutely right, that some people are not that comfortable with VR. So we have mitigating technology. One of them is we use a fan. If you think of it, if you get a car seat in a car seat, you often open the window, you blow air, and you feel a little bit better. So we are using that. There are a number of things we can do, but we also have, like, if you recall, our simulator has I don't know where it is. It has screens as well. So there is a way to go back and forth between the screens and the VR for people. You can use it monitors only, or you can use it VR. The one thing is that young people tend to be okay with VR. Usually, sometimes they own one, so that's not as much as an issue as if it was like older, more mature drivers. Yeah, hope I answered that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Also, thank you for your talk as well.
No.
Well, Helen, there's a couple of folks who have more direct questions about the sensors.
Yes.
And so they've asked for your contact information. So we can connect, and then I can share that with everybody who attended today, so that way folks can get in contact with you directly. Great.
Terrific. Thank you.
Great. Well, I'm grateful that everybody has attended today. Thank you, Helen. We love working with you, so I'm really grateful that you gave this talk today.
Thank you, Selena.
We'll post this talk on our website, so you can reference it later, and then we'll make sure to share Helen's contact information as well. So thanks for coming at the end of the semester. And if you have any other questions, feel free to stay and we can chat. So thank you so much, Helen.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you, Selena. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you, Helen.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.